this video, I will be discussing my updated 2022 governor election predictions. So without further ado, let's get right into today's video. But do make sure to follow me on Twitter. I have 2 followers, and vote in these Twitter polls even if you don't want to follow me. So yeah, let's get started. Starting from basically the safe Democratic states, we have California. We all saw that recall election, not very successful, not very close. Hawaii, also safe blue. I also think New York will be safe blue as well. I also think the state of Massachusetts and the state of Maryland. So that gives the Democrats 11 seats. For the Republicans, they have a bunch of seats that are considered safe. Some of these were contested in 2018, for example, South Dakota was decided by 3 points. And yeah, so we did have more competitive races back then, but I do think that a lot of these races, they will remain safe for the Republicans. So Republicans start with a 7-seat advantage over the Democrats. There are quite a few quite safe Democratic and Republican seats. I just don't think they will be over that 15% threshold, because being over 15% in a lot of states is still quite difficult. Now let's go to the likely Republican seats. We do have Alaska, South Carolina, Ohio, and Iowa. All 4 of these states, they will not really be very close, but given the 2020 presidential election results in all 4 of these states, the only interesting state will be Ohio. Let's see how Mike DeWine does in the primary, but I think he'll have, or any Republican will have no real, strong challenge in a general election. I also have the state of Texas. I think Greg Abbott is a decent candidate, and Beto O'Rourke is not going to make this race close in such a national environment. Nor will Florida really be close, because Ron DeSantis, early on, he had some problems having COVID-19, but really that has sort of faded out, and it looks like he will have no problem winning re-election. Kansas as well. I just don't think the Republicans will lose in the state of Kansas, of course. We do have a Democratic incumbent here, Laura Kelly, but the Republicans should be able to win in the state of Kansas. So that gives them 25 seats already, just, 1 seat away from retaining the majority. I do have Oregon going to the likely Democratic column. Kate Brown should have no problem winning her election there. It's just going to be pretty close, maybe 6-7 points. Illinois as well, J.B. Pritzker, he's going to win by probably single digits. He's probably going to have a decent challenge for one of the Republicans. I'm not sure of his name. I forgot it, I should say. So yeah, it's going to be probably 7-8 points, but it's not really going to be contested, but it will be competitive. In the state of Colorado, I think Michael Bennet, he did win by about, not Michael Bennet, Jared Polis, he did win by about 7 points, I believe. In 2018, I think it'll be about the same margin, maybe 6-7 points in the governor's race. I do have also the state of Rhode Island going to the Democrats by a likely margin. I just don't think Rhode Island will be super close, but given the national environment, it will be under 15%. So the final races here are probably going to be the most competitive races. I'm going to start with the more obvious states, in my opinion. I think Wisconsin will pretty obviously flip, because we do have Tony Evers. He's not super unpopular, but he's not super popular either. He's not going to do too well, especially because there's a lot of rural Wisconsin which Republicans have some type of room to improve in. I also think Connecticut is pretty obviously going to go to the Democrats. Now, given Wisconsin will give the Republicans the control yet again, given the national environment, it should not be super surprising. Connecticut, though, Ned Lamont's approval rating has, I think, been a little bit better compared to 2018. He did only win by 30% in 2018, though, but I think the margin should be slightly higher, actually. This is the only one of those races in which I think the Democrats will actually outperform their 2018 results, except the states of Maryland and Massachusetts, in which their incumbents are rather not allowed to run, or in Massachusetts' case, the Republican knows that he's not going to win the primary. So yeah, so that's going to be Connecticut. I think another pretty obvious Republican win is probably going to be in the state of Arizona. I do think Carrie Lake should be able to win. Again, there's maybe people thinking that she's too Trumpian. Arizona voters typically do like more moderate candidates, but it's just not going to be enough given the national environment. I think the generic ballot will favor the Republicans, maybe 2 points, by 2 points. So that's what you get from Arizona. Because do you remember here that Biden won the state by 0.3%, but the national environment was D plus 4.5. We do also have, I think, looking at the final few races, a lot of these states will be quite competitive. I do give Pennsylvania towards the Republicans. I do think the Republicans, though, they might have a bad primary. Actually, you know what? I'll put it until I had a full detailed explanation of the state of Pennsylvania here. I do think it will be tilt, not lane at this point. Because I think there's going to be a pretty messed up primary. Lou Barletta is probably going to be the nominee here. But none of these candidates are polling very well in the primary. It's going to be a big mess. While Democrats basically have their presumptive nominee here. Well, in Georgia, I think there will be an interesting primary between David Perdue and Brian Kemp. It's going to be pretty close. It probably will end up going to a runoff if there's 3 or more candidates. I'm not too sure what will happen here, but regardless, the Republicans should hold on in the state of Georgia. We have final 5 races here. All 5 of these states will be toss-up, will be tilt states, being less than 2%. Here, I'm going to start with the state of Nevada here. I do think the Republicans have the upper hand just because what we've seen here, the national environment, Steve Sisolak not being super unpopular, but not being super popular either. Going to Michigan here, I also give that towards the Republicans. Again, I think Gretchen Whitmer, she could win, but I just don't see it. Biden only won the state by 3 points. To keep in mind, again, he won the overall popular vote by 4.5. So Michigan's actually overall towards the right of the national environment, which I think is quite interesting. But yeah, I think Michigan will end up going to the Republicans by probably less than 1 percentage point, probably about 0.8 or something like that. I do, however, think that the Democrats should hold on to Maine. Do keep in mind Biden did win the state by 9 points. He won the national by 5. He won the state by 9. So it's overall a D plus 4 state. If in a national environment of even, I don't think Janet Moses is too popular. I think Paul Page has a decent chance. But overall, though, it's just not enough to make Maine into the total Republican column. I was thinking Minnesota, it's too far gone for the Republicans. We have the Black Lives Matter things, and really the suburbs, they're trending away from the Republicans. Sure, in the upper state, these conservative areas, and these voters right here, trending towards the Republicans, but the suburbs and the urban areas, too far gone for the Republicans. We finally have the state of New Mexico here. This one is a tough one because, again, in my last prediction, I did put it as tilt Democrat by about 0.5%. It's going to be, I think, even closer. I do give the Democrats credit here. I do think the Democrats will end up winning, though, by probably even closer margins. We look at the generic ballot. Republicans are, I believe, up to 3 points. So, yeah, it's actually quite, I think, bad for the Democrats in a lot of these states, but I think they should be able to hold on New Mexico because Biden did win the state by 10 points. The incumbent here, I believe Michelle Lujan Grisham, had some scandals, but that's just not enough in a very divided, political system in the United States. So thanks for watching today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter. That will be in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and bye.